everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, so you might see me wearing this top a bunch this summer, and that's because I have pre-recorded all of my videos in the springtime. So we are actually expecting our third baby this summer, so I have been working really hard. It's currently April while I'm filming this tutorial, and I'm working really hard to get a bunch of stuff recorded for you. So I'm spending the day doing a ton of recording and a ton of crafting. So if you see me wearing the same top over and over this summer in the video, it's because I pre-recorded all of my videos. That way you guys can stay inspired this summer, but behind the scenes I can be just taking my time and enjoying the season of a new little one. So in this video we are going to be creating some cute little girl shirts, and we are going to be making mermaid shirts with this pretty holographic mosaic iron-on. And that is what you see on that little mermaid fin there. It is so pretty, and if you move it, it takes on different colors with the light because it is holographic. And then I also used just some regular iron-on for some of the other elements for this shirt. So it turned out so fun. I'm going to show you exactly how I created this and how to work with the file. And then I also am going to share how exactly you cut out and weed this mosaic iron-on, because it works a little bit differently than regular traditional iron-on. It has two liners, so I'll show you how to work with that, but it's super easy, and it really makes for some fun projects because it just adds a really fun dimensional element, and I think they turned out really cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna hop into Design Space. I'll show you how I'm going to size the file, get everything color coded, and then we're going to get this all cut out. Then we'll use the Cricut EasyPress 2 to apply these little designs to the shirt, and we'll get them all ready. All right, let's get started. Okay, so to get started, this is the file that I'm going to be using. I purchased this from Design Bundles, and I'll be sure to link it in the description box below the video in case you'd like to purchase it and use it as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am actually going to color code everything to the actual iron-on HTV that I will be using. So I definitely am going to have her do yellow hair, and then I will have the black eyelashes and eyes. I'm actually going to take away the cheeks, and I think they are absolutely adorable, but the color of the shirt that I'm actually pressing this onto is this exact pale pink, so I actually could change this to a different color pink. However, I'm actually going to use my pink for her lips, so I didn't want all of that to be the same color. So long story short, I'm going to decide to just take away the little cheeks by coming over here to the layers panel and just clicking those off. Okay, so now what I need to do is just make sure all the other colors are what I'd like. So for this layer, I am going to make this a bright pink. And then for the fin, I am going to make that out of the holographic mosaic iron-on. I think that will be really fun. So while I'm clicked on this layer, another thing I want to do is come over to contour, and I actually want to take away these little fin marks because I'm going to be using that mosaic iron-on, and I don't think you're going to even see those anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and say hide all contours, and by doing that I'm just left with the outline of the mermaid fin, and it takes away all of those contours. So now once I click out, those have all been removed. Okay, so now I just need to size these. So I'm making two shirts today. I have it sized perfectly for the 3T shirt that I'm going to make, and I have it sized at about 6 inches tall. So what I'll do to make an additional shirt is I will come over and say duplicate, bring that over here, and then for my second shirt, which is about a 5T, I'm just going to make that about 6.5 inches, so just a tad bigger. If you feel like I'm going a little too fast for you, be sure to pause, rewind, or slow down this video and watch it as many times as you need. Okay, so I have my Cricut Explore Air 2 all ready to go. I'm going to say make it, and then it's going to distribute all of my little pieces on their mats accordingly. Because I am working with iron-on, I need to go through each mat and click mirror on. So I'm just going through and toggling those mirrors on. I like to also drag my pieces apart just a little bit so that I have a little bit of grace for cutting in between my cuts. And then I am going to say mirror on, and I have enough room in between those, so that's fine. And then for this last piece, I will say mirror on. Okay, so all of my mats have been mirrored. Now I can say continue. It's going to locate my Explore Air 2, and then I can select my material. So for my first 3 mats, I will just select the Everyday Iron-On setting. When it comes to my last mat where I'm going to be using that Mosaic Iron-On, I will actually show you how I will change that. So I'll go back in here and say Browse on Material. I will scroll all the way down to Iron-On, and then I am going to use Holographic Iron-On Mosaic for my setting. So again, I'll change that once I get to mat 4, but the first 3 mats will just be on the Everyday Iron-On setting. Another thing I need to do very quickly is look up my heat settings. So I'm going to be using my Cricut EasyPress 2. For my heat transfer material, of course, I will be using that Everyday Iron-On for the first 3 materials. I have a shirt that is cotton poly blend. I will use my Cricut EasyPress mat and say apply. So it'll tell me that I'm going to do 315 for 30 seconds with some additional instructions here, including the preheating, what type of pressure to use, to tell me to flip and press my shirt again, and then of course when to remove my liner. This will be a cool peel. I'm going to come back up here and I'm only going to change to Mosaic, and then I'm going to do Cotton Poly Blend once more, the Cricut EasyPress mat, and then say apply. So that one we will do at 330 for 30 seconds, and then again we are going to do 15 seconds on the back. This one actually does require a firm pressure. And then I'm going to show you, this actually has 2 liners. So the first liner we're going to remove when that's warm. And then the second liner we are going to remove when it has cooled down a little bit more. Okay, let's go ahead and get everything cut out, weeded, and pressed onto our shirts. Okay, so I have my first little piece here. This is all of the iron-on that I am going to be using. To be honest, I can't remember if all of these are everyday iron-on. I know this one might be a Caesar Easy Weed, so I'm just going to monitor my temperatures while I am pressing those. I'll press them all at the everyday iron-on setting, but I'll just keep an eye on them to make sure that they are pressing properly. So sometimes it's just a little hard to remember which brand is which. So now what I'm going to do is just take my everyday iron-on or my solid iron-ons. I'm going to make sure that they are shiny side down on the mat. So I'll just locate that shiny side, place that face down on the mat, and then I will load that into my machine and then press cut. And then while that's cutting, I will prep the yellow and the pink, and I'll get those loaded onto the mat when it's time. And then I'll come back and show you how we are going to load our Mosaic Holographic Iron-On. Okay, so the Holographic Mosaic Iron-On that I'm using is the Aurora sampler. I'll be sure to link it down below with the rest of my materials. So I'm just going to, I think there's 3 different colors since it's a sampler. Okay, so it has little white sheets in between just to help see the color, but it looks like we have, it's really hard to tell the difference, but one might be a little bit pinker than the rest. Yes, I think this one's a little bit pinker than the rest, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that middle one. I'll set that to the side. I think that'll be really fun. And as you know, we are pink lovers around here, so it's an obvious choice. Okay, so now I'm going to unload this mat here, and I did edit my mat so that the pieces were in different spots just to use this smaller piece of scrap. Okay, so now with our holographic iron-on, we are again going to load it shiny side down, so that holographic side will go side down on our mat. And then we can load it into our machine. Again, I will change my cut settings in Cricut Design Space for this new material. Okay, so I have all of my pieces ready to be weeded, and what I'm going to do is take my 6x7 EasyPress 2, and I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to set that at a temperature of 330 degrees, and that will be for my Mosaic Holographic. And I'm doing this first because it requires a higher temperature, so I like to press my material that requires a higher temperature first, because obviously the other ones are lower, so you want to not have the press over a lower temperature product with something that is of high heat. So it's going to go for 30 seconds. So I'll place that at 30 seconds and then we will start weeding. Okay, so with my little weeding tool here, I'm just going to begin weeding out my little designs. And if you are new to weeding, weeding is simply removing any part of the design that you do not wish to have on your final project. So it would be all that surrounding space. So we have the cute little eyelashes, they're teeny tiny. And then we have the little starfish and lips, which I had to go digging in the trash because I just noticed that I had the starfish and not the lips. So I got a little bit carried away with trimming off my extras there. I trimmed off something I needed. That's okay though. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and weed this piece next. And then I also have little tiny pieces inside that I need to weed out. So there's little tiny pieces in that starfish that need to come out as well. Okay, and our heat press has preheated, so that is perfect. We are all set to go. So there are little lips as well. And then we have the hair. So all of this is super simple to weed. So let me know what is on your craft table right now. What are you working on, or what are you planning to work on? I feel like I have a long list of things that I'm always planning to work on. Most of the time my list of crafts is super long. Okay, so I think I have all the pieces for the hair. That looks really cute. And then we have our holographic iron-on. So again, we're still placing that shiny side down, and then we can just pierce and weed that out. So I'm just grabbing a little, okay, I'm almost kind of just bending away where that cut line is. I'm finding it easier to get a starting point there. There we go. Okay. And then just weeding out all of that extra. And the reason why you have two liners is so that you can weed all of these little circles out together. So it makes just the weeding process so much easier. So we have one little fin here, and then our next little fin right there. Super cute. Okay, so now, because they are so similar in size, I probably should have just made them the same size just to give myself a little bit of a grace there, but because they're so similar in size, now I just need to match them up with which pieces they go with, and then we'll get them pressed onto our shirt. Okay, so I am just kind of putting them one over the other to see which one is bigger. It looks like this one's bigger, and I'm putting all of the bigger ones over here, and then placing all of the smaller over here, and just placing them in little piles. Okay, so I do like to remove my floral craft mat from my surface when I'm doing any pressing projects. So I have my heat press mat here, and then I have this 5 t-shirt. So this is the bigger of the 2 shirts that we are going to press. So I purchased these from Target. Now I do pre-wash all of my shirts before I press on with iron-on, so it's all washed and dried, and I love these. Aren't they cute with their little flutter sleeves and little eyelets on the side? That's so cute. So I actually went onto Target's website and ordered a couple more before I filmed this because I just fell in love with them. So I'm going to take my press and I am going to preheat my material just for about 5 seconds. And this just removes any of the moisture as well as flattens out any wrinkles that may be present in the shirt and just preps it for the iron-on. Okay, so that is good. And then what I like to do, now I visually like to center my designs on my shirt, so if you are not good with doing that, then be sure to grab a measuring tape and get all of your measurements all lined up, but I always have pretty good luck with just doing it visually by eye. So I'm going to place, now I'm only going to press my holographic mosaic first, but I'm going to place all the pieces down together really quickly just so I get an idea of where I want everything to be located. It just helps center things when you can lay them all down together. So that is what it's supposed to look like in the end. So now that I have them all together, I can pick this up and then I can move it around to where I think looks best. Okay, and I like that. So again, I'm going to remove all of the layers except for that holographic mosaic, and then I'm going to place that right on the shirt, and I will press that at 330 degrees for 30 seconds with firm pressure. Okay, Now is the time when it says we are going to peel the first liner, but I'm going to let that cool just a little bit. It says to peel it when it's warm, and it's very, very hot right now. Okay, so that's pretty warm at this point, so I'm just going to take that top liner and I will peel that away, just like this. Okay, now there is a second liner on this, so I'm going to let it cool just a tad bit more, and then we will remove that second liner. Okay, so you may need a weeding tool just to grab a little piece of it, so I'm going to grab just under that liner, just to get a little piece started, and then I can begin peeling that up as well. And it laid down really nicely. Okay, so now that both of those liners are up, we can really see just how pretty that holographic is. So look at how neat that is. So cute. So I did notice one little piece wanting to come up, just a teeny tiny little circle, and it's going to get a little bit more heat anyway when pressing the extra layers, so that will be sure to lay down. Really quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my EasyPress now to 315 because we'll be doing the extra layers that require a lower temperature. Okay, so while that's cooling off a bit, we're going to press the hair first. So I am just going to remove all those other little layers and just place them to the side. And what I want to do is I want to cut really closely to the hair here and remove as much liner as I can, because I don't want any of my liner to overlap where my little fin is here, because if you have a liner overlap it, it can place a pressing line into the design down here or the iron-on, and so I want to avoid that. So I just want to make sure that nothing is going to be placed on top of my mosaic. So I'm just really quickly checking to make sure everything is where I would like it once more, just to double check. Okay, that looks good to me. So the hair will go down next. Now, because I do not want to expose my holographic iron-on to my heat source, since it doesn't have a protective layer on it, I'm going to add a protective layer with just some parchment paper. So what I'm doing is just providing a barrier between my heat plate and the exposed iron-on. And I really only need to focus down here because this has a protective liner on top up here. So I'm going to focus on the hair up at the top, and I will press that with light pressure. And we're going to do that for 30 seconds at 315. Okay, there we go. Looks good. And then I'm going to let this cool just a bit before peeling up that liner. Okay, so I'll peel that up. And then we are going to place the rest of our little pieces. So I'm going to place the rest of them all at the same time, and in order to do that, what I need to do is make sure that they are trimmed so that none of the liners overlap one another. So I'm just going to really quickly trim those fairly skinny, and I'm just trimming that liner on top, and I'll just place them individually where they go. We have the little lips here, teeny tiny, and again, these are normally attached to the little starfish, but I had a little snafu, and that's okay. It's actually kind of easier to place separately. And then, of course, the little starfish right here. So cute. Okay, so that looks great. All three pieces are ready to go. Again, now I have my yellow is exposed, and then of course my holographic mosaic is exposed. So I'm going to cover all of that with a piece of parchment paper. That way it's all protected, and then I will press once more 315 for 30 seconds. When this press is done, since it's the final press, I will flip the entire shirt over and I will press for an additional 15 seconds just to finish off the project and make sure everything is really on the shirt. Okay, now I can take my liner off, that's fine. turn this completely over and do that additional 15 seconds on the back. Okay. Now to help that cool down quickly, I'm going to just take it away from my heat press mat and lay it on a cooler surface. That just helps cool the iron-on down a lot quicker. And then I can remove my last 3 liners and this shirt will be all done. Okay, so I am removing the final liners and we are all good. Now, if you notice anything is not laying down, you can, of course, place the liners right back over top, and then you can actually repress just to make sure everything is down where it needs to be. But that looks really, really good. Okay, so how cute did that turn out? And I love the holographic mosaic because it looks like a mermaid fin. I think that is so, so fun. Okay, so here are the final shirts. I love how they turned out. I really love that holographic sparkle with that little mosaic pattern. I think the little pattern circles make it really look like a little mermaid fin. So I am in love with this, and the girls are going to love these. I'm sure that they are going to use these all summer long. All right, everyone, if you enjoyed this, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will place some other helpful videos at the end of this video if you want to continue crafting with me, and I will see you all in the next video.